Hey guys, welcome to another video. So ever since I started this channel, I've been getting a lot of questions during either my account reviews and roasts or in my Discord channel, which by the way I am leaving a link in the video description below, about which character should you build, especially as a new or beginner player. So in this one I decided to create a list of great characters that you should build to lay a solid foundation for your account, which then you can continue to build upon. So without wasting too much time, let's get started with the list of characters I think will jumpstart your account and will lay a solid foundation for your account. For a character to be a decent option to build for new and beginner players, I think that the character should fulfill following conditions. The first condition is that there are no premium characters. The reason is that the character needs to be easy to acquire and requires no money spent to actually play the character to the highest potential. The second condition is that the character must be a native tier 1 character. The reason for this is simple. Native tier 1 characters cost way less resources to build to tier 2, tier 3 and tier 4 than native tier 2 and tier 3 characters. The third condition is that the character needs to be proc friendly so you can effectively play the character with a simple damage proc obelisk. And finally, character needs to have value in multiple game modes to justify the resources invested and to allow new players to cover multiple game modes with the least amount of characters built. So these are pretty strict rules for me to select characters from, and there really are not much viable options. But I've created a list of 5 characters that you could use for world boss clears effectively, which are also usable in other game modes. Let's start with character number 5 on this list, and that is Shuri in her Black Panther uniform. Now, there are a few reasons why I placed Shuri on the 5th spot, and one of the reasons is that whenever I reviewed accounts from beginner players, I noticed a trend where they tend to build multiple DPS characters, like 8 or 10 DPS characters before building a single support character, and then they struggle to clear World Boss Legend Stage 1. So Shuri in her Black Panther uniform is not only a great support character, but she's also capable of clearing World Boss Legend content on her own. Here is a screenshot of my Shuri with only 120% damage proc obelisk, reaching the final stage of stage 45 of Null with almost 50 seconds left. Granted, I did use full support team and stage 45 is not that high of a stage, but given the fact that she only has 120% damage obelisk and that she can only go up to level 70 at tier 3 is not too bad at all. This is a testament that she can clear up to stage 9 easily with even a bad cards and low or no pierce at all. Her damage proc rotation is really simple, as you want to do only 3 cancel 5 cancel 4 and let the 4 skill play out. On a single target, this gives Shuri a respectable 80 plus hits, and when you have her tier 3 skill available, you want to do exactly the same, but you want to start with the tier 3 skill and instant cancel it before going into your regular rotation, and it looks like this. She gets over 130 hits, I believe, on a single target with this rotation, so it's, again, pretty respectable for a tier 3 character. Shuri can be used at first as a world boss clear, and then once you build better DPS characters, for example Human Torch, you can switch her to be a pure support and a leadership character for speed types in world boss content and alliance battle content. With that in mind, you should first build your Shuri with something like a crit rate crit damage obelisk with a single skill damage proc, aiming for 160% or higher, before you acquire a CTP of Insight and transform her into a full support character. You should only do this once you build more characters and you do not need her as a damage dealer. So with Shuri, you start initially to use her as a world boss clear DPS character with her own leadership, before you switch her to an amazing support and a leadership character that will be very useful for a long time for your account. At the 4th place, we actually have Hela in her What If uniform. The reason why Hela even made it to this list is because she's the only one of the 2 native tier 1 characters that can be used in both PvE and PvP, and hence provides a long time value for your account. For Hela's rotation, you want to do second skill first, delay cancel it when she summons the source before cancelling all of her other skills into the 5th skill. It looks like this. as you can see, unlike Shuri, she does not have many hits on her full rotation, going just under 50 hits, but when you use her tier 3 skill, which is again the same rotation, but you don't proc on the 5th skill, but rather on the 6th skill, she gets almost double that number. So here is her tier 3 rotation, and this is the rotation that will deal most damage to the world bosses and is the one that you should be focusing to get as fast as possible, which is why we have to cancel every single of her skill, because most of her damage comes from the 6th skill. Hela is actually quite underrated as a PvE world boss DPS character, especially on stacked accounts, but she's also has a niche value in ABX and ABL until you acquire better characters like, for example, Jean Grey, while in PvP she can be used as an offensive support in modes like Timeline Battle, Otherworld Battle and Alliance Conquest, especially if you get her that artifact which gives her immortality. With that in mind, because we will first use her as a world boss clear, you should start with something like a crit rate, crit damage obelisk with a single skill damage proc, again aiming for 160% or higher. While later, you have three options. You can go for something like a Reforged CTP of Destruction and make her a PvE and PvP hybrid, or go for something like Reforged CTP of Regen with Penetration proc if you want her to excel at PvP, or simply give her a CTP of Insight if you want to use her as a pure PvP support. Now, keep in mind that while yes, she will be best if you give her something like a CTP of Regen, for PvP she won't be able to compete with current timeline metas, but she again retains her value as a support there. Coming up on the third place is Captain Marvel. She's an absolutely amazing PvE character, and the only reason why I did not rank her higher is because she works the best with CTP of Rage, and one of the conditions is that the character needs to be proc friendly, and well, she is proc friendly character and you can play her with a single skill damage proc obelisk. You will see her value skyrocket once you equip her with a CTP of Rage. For Captain Marvel's rotation, you essentially want to do 3 cancel 5, slightest delay cancel, and then into 4. The reason why we have to do slight delay cancel of the 5th skill is because if you instant cancel it, you get no additional hits, as you can see here from the that we only got hits from the first skill. But if we do slight delay cancel and then into first skill, we get many additional hits from her summoning either Spectrum or Miss Marvel. So her regular rotation should look like this: 3 cancel 5, slight delay cancel into 4. And as you can see, she gets a really respectable amount of hits, going just under 100. And if you have her 6th skill available, you should do 3 cancel 6, cancel 5, slightest delay cancel into the 4th skill, and it looks like this. And as you can see, she gets a decent amount of hits more when you do her rotation like this. So that's the rotation of Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel can hit multiple world boss restriction days and is one of the best characters for ABX and ABL, especially when you give her a CTP of Rage. But for starters, you can build her with, again, crit chance at crit damage obelisk with a single skill damage proc before you get your first CTP of Rage. Her Rage rotation is very similar to her proc rotation, except that now you will want to delay cancel the 3rd skill before spamming your other skills. Recently, a team-up collection was added that includes Captain Marvel, so she can eventually hit that 35% pierce, giving her advantage over more expensive characters of her typing like Scarlet Witch. On the 2nd place, we have SpiderGwen in her Spider-Verse uniform, and everyone who built this character and played this character understands why is this character so good and why does this character deserves to be on a 2nd spot in a list like this. For SpiderGwen's rotation, you essentially want to do 3 cancel 4, cancel 5, and you have to slightly delay cancel the 4th skill when you see her summon the web on the ground, so you get the maximum number of hits, and it looks like this. And as you can see, by doing the rotation like this, she gets almost 90 hits, so that's pretty respectable for this character, and if you have her Transcendent Potential skill or the 6th skill, you want to start the rotation with the 6th skill before going into your regular rotation, but you have to delay cancel the 6th skill when you see the silk shoot up the web in the sky, and then you go to your regular rotation. It looks like this. So we cancel now, and as you can see, by doing it like this, she gets almost like 20-30 hits more than with her regular rotation. Her damage is quite higher. With her typing, she hits multiple World Boss stages as well as multiple ABX and ABL days, and is probably the best alternative to current ABX and ABL meta, which is Luna Snow. But Luna Snow is a premium character that requires a seasonal uniform, so SpiderGwen is much cheaper option. Like previous characters, start with crit rate and crit damage obelisk with 160% plus single skill damage proc before you get a CTP for her, and then you have few options. You can either give her a CTP of Rage if you want her to excel at ABX and ABL, or something like Reforged CTP of Destruction or Reforged CTP of Energy if you want her to excel at World Boss content. Finally, in the first place, we have Hulk in his Titan uniform. Hulk in the Titan uniform is the most flexible character in the game and is actually insane in multiple game modes. This is the reason why I recommend every new player and every beginner player, even intermediate players, to build Hulk the Titan, because he will cover multiple game modes for you and will be very, very effective in each and every one of them. Finally, we're at the Hulk rotation, and his rotation, proc rotation, is really simple, as you want to cancel all of his skills into the 5th skill and let the 5th skill play out. His 5th skill is an infinite skill, and you can hold it as long as you want or until you get interrupted, while you wait for the cooldowns of your other skills. If you have the 6th skill available, you want to again cancel every single of your skills, including the 5th skill, into the 6th skill for maximum damage. And the rotation looks like this. And if you're using a CTP of Regen or Refinement, you can actually start with the 6th skill and then go into your regular rotation, so you get the most number of hits that the Hulk can do with one rotation and use of the 3rd skill, as you can see here. He can be used to push high roll boss stages, he can reach maximum scores in Alliance battle modes, and he is playable in PvP, especially in modes like Otherworld Battle and Alliance Conquest. Unlike previous characters where you aim for crit rate and crit damage proc obelisk, for Hulk you should aim for double max HP obelisk with a single skin damage proc, again aiming for 160% or higher. He's extremely proc-friendly character, but once you start getting CTPs, you can replace the obelisk with something like a Reforged CTP of Regen or Reforged CTP of Refinement if you want him to truly be a hybrid and be usable in both World Boss content, Alliance Battle content, and somewhat usable in PvP in modes like Timeline Battle. Well, he will be decent in Alliance Conquest and Otherworld Battle, or you can give him something like a CTP of Rage if you want him to reach the high scores possible in Alliance Battle modes. So now that we covered 5 characters that you can build to lay a solid foundation for multiple game modes, especially in PvE, while they do have some value in PvP, given the current timeline meta where every character is a native tier 2 or native tier 3 character, we really can't use restrictions like the character must be native tier 1, no premium characters, character must be proc friendly, because PvP in this game simply works different than other game modes. So if you want to build characters for PvP, you should aim for these two. Sentry in his Void uniform and Silver Surfer in his Symbiote uniform are your 2 best bets if you want to build effective characters for PvP content and if you want to actually dominate in these game modes. So why should you build Silver Surfer or Sentry for your first PvP characters? Here is a list of notable timeline metas in recent time, and if we take a look, first we have Jean Grey, but she has unfortunately fallen off the PvP meta and requires a deluxe epic quest purchase, which costs over 6,000 crystals before you can acquire her, and then buy her uniform for 2.5k crystals before you proceed to build her to tier 3 and tier 4 and use her in timeline. Next we have Adam Warlock. While he's an amazing PvP character, he costs 6.6k crystals, which is a steep price to pay for new players, and he somewhat needs his artifact to be sustainable in PvP. Coming up next we have Wolverine, who again is amazing in PvP, but he requires completed epic quests, which is not that big of a deal. But what is a big deal is that he needs at least 4-star artifact to be relevant in PvP. Coming up next we have Madeline Pryor, but like Jean Grey, she has fallen off the PvP meta and requires deluxe epic quest purchase, and her deluxe epic quest is the most expensive epic quest in the game. Next we have Thanos, but he really needs a stacked account and is played the best with Reforged CTP of Conquest. He has really no good alternatives for CTP of Conquest, and CTP of Conquest is kind of premium CTP, which is hard to acquire, especially Reforged for new players, even intermediate players. You should also get his artifact if you want him to be really a threat in PvP, so he's only viable on stacked accounts. And finally we have Dr. Doom, but he's in his God Emperor uniform, but he's just a clown character, requires deluxe epic quest purchase like many other characters, and is mediocre in PvP even on stacked accounts. So this is the reason why you should build first characters like Silver Surfer, who you can get easily by clearing giant boss raid, and then slowly upgrade him, get his uniform, get him something like Reforged CTP of Refinement, and he will be the best choice you could build for PvP. Or you could go for a more expensive option, which is Sentry, who is arguably now the best character in the game, and while he is best with Reforged CTP of Conquest, you can effectively play him with something like a Reforged CTP of Greed. With this, I covered everything I wanted to say about which characters I think will lay the best foundation for your account that you can further build upon. The first 5 characters I would build if I had to restart my account and I was a low spender or no spender at all, completely free to play. I would go for Shuri, I would go for Hulk first, then Spider-Gwen, then Captain Marvel, followed up with Hela, and finally Shuri, before I build other PvE, DPS, and notably support characters. Then I would switch to building my PvP team. I would slowly finish Sentry's epic quest to get him to tier 3, and I would complete giant boss raid to acquire Silver Surfer, build him up slowly to tier 3 and then tier 4, so I can use a team like Hela, Silver Surfer, and Sentry before I switch Hela to a more defensive option like Colossus. So if you enjoyed this video and it helped you, or you disagree with the list, you can leave the comment in the comment section down below. And if you did enjoy the video, you can consider leaving a like or even subscribing. Consider joining Discord as well. We hang out and talk about different builds. And I'll see you guys next time. Take care.